Welcome, everyone. My name is Sulma Arias. I am the Executive Director at People's Action, a national network of grassroots organizations with more than 1 million members in 30 states. And this is Movement Politics to Win 2024. Thank you for joining us. Gracias por acompañarnos. If you want to follow in Spanish, use the link on your screen, Somos Más. Si prefiere escucharnos en español, por favor siga el link Somos Más. We are excited to be with People's Action members from all around the country and our very special guest, U.S. Representative Jamaal Bowman and Summer Lee. At People's Action, we want leaders who come from our people and work with communities every step of the way, like these leaders. They are our champions from school board and city hall to state capitals and Washington, D.C. They are not only our champions, we hold them accountable, we support them, and most importantly, we hold community for them, which is what we're doing here tonight. That's why I'm so excited that you are joining us. Many of us have lost faith in our leaders and in the power of government to improve lives. Our solution? Elect working people for everything. Because when working people win, we all win. We call this movement politics. And this is a key part of what we call the organizing revival. We've launched here at People's Action an organizing revival because in it, we can find the power we need to win and the power we need to fight together for what we need to win for our communities. We know that when we elect people that we trust, working people, to every level of government, we advance our long-term strategy to win good jobs, homes, and healthcare, and clean environment. The stakes are very high this election. Climate change threatens every one of us. We're losing reproductive freedoms and voting rights. Greedy corporations profit from our pain and put healthcare, housing, and hope out of reach. And there is unspeakable violence in the Middle East, which is why tonight I'm so excited to announce our People's Platform for 2024. And our first slate of endorsements, which is the reason we're here tonight. This include Representatives Bowman and Lee, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Raquel Teran, and all of the candidates on our People slate. They are all true people's champions. They fight for real solutions for our planet and people every day, and they fight for what we need. We've been proud to support them from the beginning. And what can we do? And what are we going to ask you to do? We need to vote and support this true champions like this, because the alternative to democracy is despair. We all do our part to make good government happen with leaders who share our values and who will fight for us. So thank you all again for being here. Please stay with us until the end of the program to find out what else you can do. So no one fights more for our priorities than Representative Jamaal Bowman from New York City's 16th District. We want to welcome him, and he'll be joining us tonight. But before we go to him, I want to introduce you to our one and only Marta Popadiak, who is our People's Action's Deputy Director of Movement Politics. Marta, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Should I go? I'm going. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Sulma. My name is Marta Popadiak. I'm the Deputy Director of Movement Politics here at AF. Growing up in a working, poor immigrant home, I felt how hard life can be when elected officials prioritize corporations over house cleaners like my mom. So when People's Action says elect working people to everything, we mean it. It's our strategy to win, and it works. Our friends down at Down Home, North Carolina, who came up with this phrase, they're taking back the Tar Heel state, county by county and vote by vote. They've elected folks up and down the ballot and defeated a Republican supermajority, protected our reproductive freedoms and voting rights. Down Home knows how to win. We can all use some of that Down Home spirit and People's Action. In Chicago, my hometown, Movement Champions just ended cash bail, and we elected Brandon Johnson as a real progressive mayor with a new vision for public safety. In Pennsylvania, we're building a majority in the state ledge, and we have worked to bring progressive champions from Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and New York to Washington, D.C., where they fight for all of us. Today is Super Tuesday. The other side wants to send a would-be dictator, Donald Trump, back to the White House. Trump has already told us what he's going to do if he wins: destroy democracy, punish those who oppose him, deport immigrants. But we ain't going to let that happen. Corporations and the far right have billions in dark money to spend against us. AIPAC and other right-wing PACs are spending hundreds of millions of dollars right now to defeat Bowman and Lee, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and AOC. And we're not going to let big money win. These folks are our champions, and together we've got something that big money can't buy: the power of the people. When we unite, nothing can defeat us. So with that, let me welcome our very special guest, Juanita Lewis, who is a badass coming from New York. Juanita Lewis.
Hey everyone, thanks Marta. I'm so excited to be here with all of you tonight. As Marta said, my name is Juanita Lewis. I'm the Executive Director of Community Voices Heard out in New York State, and I have the honor and pleasure of being the People's Action Board Chair. So last year, we had our homecoming convention. How many of you were with us? How many of you saw the thousands of people that came to DC to be with other organizers, with other members from organizations from across the country, and that were ready to get ready to launch our organizing revival? Do you all remember taking the streets, going to Citibank and shutting stuff down to be able to fight for better housing, for climate, to make sure that we are having climate justice, and that we go after the biggest lobbies for landlords and private insurance? That's why we were in the streets. And so, do you all remember that? Do you remember that feeling? Do you remember how invigorating it was and how powerful it was? And so I remember being there, and I remember feeling all of that. And it's so true that when we fight, we win. And in fact, that's one of my favorite chants. Every time we say, when we fight, we win. And so, let's do what Sulma said. Right now, it's time for us to reimagine a world that we can create together, a place where every one of us has a voice in how we can live our lives. So, like right now, we're just gonna cut real quick to a video where you can hear and feel some of that.
Welcome home, People's Action. Bienvenidos a casa. It's been 4 long years since we've been together, and I am so happy to see you. Over the last 4 years, we've experienced a lot of pain and loss. The continued brutality on our people by a country that refuses healthcare but doles out opioids, refuses decent, affordable housing but locks up the unhoused. It can be so easy to feel isolated powerless and alone in a world that denies our truths and discourages our vision. Lost in the face of decades of coordinated attacks designed to break our power. But People's Action, we are here to say we refuse to break. In every county, along every coast, down every country road, we are gathering to say no more. We are on the move. Something is rising in our blood. Something is rising in our neighborhoods. It's rising across our organizations. A revival of our spirit, a revival of our love for each other, a revival of our deep-rooted commitment to justice for every single one of us. It is time for an organizing revival. True power building takes rigor, it takes discipline, it takes love, and it takes a shared understanding of what we're up against outside. It takes a shared plan across all of our communities and in all of our organizations, all across this country. We need it all to win.
And we're gonna create a world where everyone can have safe, affordable places to live. A place where every single person can access healthcare, the healthcare they need. A place where we have clean air, clean water, and every one of us has a voice in how our lives are run. Let's imagine the world that we can create together. Welcome home, People's Action.
We believe in organizing. We're here because we believe in justice.
At People's Action, you're building strong people, right? And that's why this organizing revival must happen.
So seeing that video just brought me back to the convention and just got me all excited all over again. And in fact, it reminds me of my very first big action with People's Action when we were shutting stuff down in 2010 on Wall Street, when it was, the big banks had crashed the economy, and we wanted to make sure that Wall Street heard our voices of the 99%. And so, I've been a part of People's Action now for 10 years. And I've watched movement politics grow from an idea to something that is so powerful. And so just thinking about how we were able to shut that stuff down in New York and then seeing that happen in other places, it gave me hope of what could happen when we've got people in office that support us and then we're going out there and exercising the things that we want to see changed. So now People's Action has political organizations in 30 states. And we train and elect and select progressive champions like Jamaal and Summer, Rashida and AOC. And we know that we've got their backs, and I know that they've got ours. And we're only just getting started. So let's not forget what we accomplished in 2020. We defeated the most dangerous president in history. And then in 2022, we did it again. We broke that red wave and had unprecedented or precedented and elected even more progressives to the House of Representatives, progressive champions, all across this country. But let's take a closer look at that. And so right now, we're gonna show you a video of some of our champions.
People's Action.
It is really great to be back with People's Action as you launch your deep canvassing program.
What we know at the end of the day, what is far more effective is deep canvassing.
So we are taking the time to have meaningful human connection.
So, as AOC and Bernie and Pramila said, we are ready to fight and do what we've got to do. And I'm super excited because one of our special guests is here. And so, we are so excited to have Congressman Bowman here. Congressman Bowman represents the 16th Congressional District, my old stopping grounds of Yonkers and in the Bronx. And so at this time, if we could give it up and welcome Congressman Bowman. You with us, Jamaal? So it looks like Congressman Bowman is coming on, as he's just coming from a vote. And so he is in the car, he is doing the people's work in the car. And when you try to do that and technological difficulties. So hopefully we're gonna be able to get him queued up so he can give us some words of encouragement and tell us what's going on. And there were some technical difficulties on my end as well, because I was muted. You would think after all of these years of being on Zoom, we would learn how to unmute. But going back to Congressman Bowman, so we know he is in the car because he's traveling from taking an important vote and had some technological difficulties. So we're trying to get him back on here with us. But he hopefully will join us soon. And I see that he's going to be coming back on in a couple of seconds to tell us what's going on in DC and how we can keep on fighting hard and supporting our progressive champions. You with us, Congressman?
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
There we go. We can hear you, Congressman.
Appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Peace and love to you all. Thank you for doing what you do, continuing to organize, continuing to fight, continuing to love on our communities who've been marginalized and left behind by our political system. Washington is crazy, y'all, as y'all know. We got Republicans running the House, so they don't want to govern. They just want to message and fight and attack the LGBTQ and Black people and poor people. That's what they're all about. So Democrats have to take back the House. That's priority number 1 for November. Having said that, there's also a concerted, coordinated attack on progressives, and working class people, both in my district and around the country. I see they're trying to shift things back to the way they used to be. There's almost like a MAGA movement within the Democratic Party right now, trying to take things back to how they want it to be, because we've had so much success. And you all have had so much success over the last several years after fighting for decades for justice. And so we all know what we're up against, particularly in my particular race. I'm up against a 35-year career politician who plays the insider game. He's a corporate Democrat, all about pay to play, all about doing favors, recruited by AIPAC and funded by Republicans. So literally, we have AIPAC, Republicans, and the biggest name Democrat they could find to come up against us in this particular race. But you know what? They're not going to be successful, y'all, because we still have a people-powered, diverse coalition of people fighting for justice in New York 16 and all around the country that's taking the fight to them on the streets with an incredible field program, an incredible phone banking program, an incredible canvas program. The fundraising is record-breaking right now. And so we're going to put all that together to win a historic election on June 25th. We're still fighting for a Green New Deal. We're still fighting for Medicare for all. We're still fighting for housing as a human right. I know, Juanita, personally what's happening in Yonkers right now. It's crazy in Yonkers. It's crazy in Westchester County. It's crazy all up and down New York State. Some of the things that come out the mouths of other elected officials are crazy. And so we're going to do what we got to do to continue to fight for working class people and continue to attack issues like affordability and, public safety, public safety through the lens of public health, not just through the lens of mass incarceration and punitive measures and all that. And so the fight continues, the work continues. I'm energized, I'm inspired. We're about to win something big. And I want you all to think about this. Think about the day after our election. Look at how hard they've been coming out. Since October, they were running ads in my district saying I stand with Hamas and trying to force me to quote unquote stand with Israel. They've called me anti-Semitic, right? They're trying to say that I'm all about rhetoric, not results, even though I brought $1 billion into the district over the first 3 years. Even though when there was no vaccination sites in Yonkers and Co-op City and Enewall and New Rochelle, I'm the one that fought to bring those sites there. When no one was focused on criminal justice reform, I'm working with 3 criminal justice reform programs in the district, mental health for seniors, workforce development, on and on and on. They put out propaganda and they put out lies, y'all. And they've been attacking us since October with ads saying they're going to spend $20 million against us. If we weren't doing the right thing for people, they would not be coming at us as hard as they're coming at us. So I appreciate y'all's support. God bless you all for your work. And let's go get this W and think about the day after. Think about June 26th, once we are declared victorious. Imagine the shift in the political winds, not just in New York State, but in the overall consciousness of progressive people and conscious people all across the country. You're going to have young, Black, brown, queer, progressive, poor people running for office for school board, local municipalities, counties, states, and Congress all across the country. We're going to change the game forever after this win. So I appreciate y'all support, and let's go get it done, y'all.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Just hearing your words and all the stuff that's going on, what you've been able to do in the district and what you're ready to fight for has got me fired up and ready to do some good stuff and cause some good trouble. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Emily Lee, the Executive Director of Seed the Vote, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about what's going on and happening.
Thank you, Juanita. Thank you, Congressman. My name is Emily Lee. I'm the Executive Director of Seed the Vote, and we're making sure that volunteers from across the country can plug into the most critical races every election cycle. We're fighting the rise of fascism and building our movements at the same time. And in order to win, like the Congressman said, we need to get it done. We need each other, and we need every single one of you listening in right now. People's Action has an incredible network of organizations and members and people. And Seed the Vote has the infrastructure to help every single People's Action affiliate or any volunteer be part of the key races across the country to door knock in person. In 2020 and 2022, Seed the Vote partnered with People's Action and its affiliates on the ground in key states like Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. We also worked on Summer Lee's first congressional primary in 2022, and we won. So together we showed that no matter where you are in this country, if you want to go door knock, if you want a phone bank in battleground races, we can get you there. So volunteers who couldn't afford a plane ticket, a car rental, or a hotel, Seed the Vote got them there and we got it done. So for some people, 2020 was their very first time door knocking. And they didn't want to go it alone, so they were part of a Seed the Vote team that got trained on the issues, practiced role plays, and debriefed every night after knocking on the doors. For organizations that want to send their members and volunteers, this meant that they gained the skills, the experience, and the excitement, which they then brought home after the election to local campaigns. And I can't think of a better way for people to get trained up and send their canvassers and their team leaders to get ready in time for November. The Congressman mentioned AIPAC, the pro-Israel super PAC, which has threatened to spend $100 million to unseat members of the squad and other progressive champions who've been fighting for the ceasefire in Gaza resolution, the very people you're hearing from on this call. So AIPAC and other super conservative super PACs are spending an unprecedented amount of money to unseat our most progressive members of Congress, and we're not going to let them. Collective solidarity is central to our movements and everything we do. You may not live in St. Louis or Pittsburgh or New York, but that doesn't mean you can't be part of the fight to keep our folks in Congress. In fact, it's going to take all of us to defend our champions and send the message. You can't take them out, no matter how much you spend. So Seed the Vote has your back, and together we have the backs of the squad who are standing up for us in DC. I'll pass it back to you, Juanita.
Great. Thanks so much, Emily. I'm so glad that we're in this fight together. And so now let me welcome a leader from Pennsylvania United, Ashley Comans. So she can tell us more about why Representative Summer Lee is so important to her. Ashley.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Ashley Comans, and I'm a member of Pennsylvania United. And I'm extremely excited during this Women's History Month to talk about my sister friend, a history maker, a glass ceiling breaker, and the powerhouse leader out of Western PA, Summer Lee. So one day back in 2018, Summer and I, we met up for lunch at a local pizza shop. And she told me that she made the decision to run for the Pennsylvania State House. Her, alongside Sarah Enamorado, they challenged two longstanding members in our state house who were a part of a political dynasty that nobody thought Summer and Sarah could beat. I can't tell you how many no's or wait your turns that we heard, but we didn't stop. And we knew that something different was building in Western Pennsylvania. What they did sparked a change in our region. They inspired us and they showed us that the people that we have the power, and they did things like increased our voter turnout and really showing what it means when we say, when we fight, we win. We knew there was more that needed to be done to show up for our communities because we deserve so much more from our elected officials. They had a vision of meeting our community where they're at and putting people over politics because our economy can't continue to only work for the wealthy few off the backs of the working poor. Quality public schools, clean air and water, good union jobs, and having a leader who will fight for those who have been counted out for too long is what we currently have in a leader like Congresswoman Lee. So for communities like ours, we cannot go back. And it is now more important than ever that we are supporting candidates like Summer, who are fighters for the people, who show up even when it's hard. Summer has been put through the fire, and I think it's on us to make sure that we're standing 10 toes down behind her because she continues to take so much on behalf of us so that she can fight for communities like ours. And so we have to make it clear that we are not going anywhere because we're going to build this movement because the time is now. We're going to keep knocking on doors. We're going to keep making our phone calls, and we're going to continue to build on this grassroots movement. Because when we're electing people who are fighting for all of us, that's what this work is about. Summer has been a leader in Congress for Pittsburgh and for Western PA, and we know that that is something that we cannot stop. So I'm excited to have Summer, and I believe I have the honor of her coming up and speaking next.
So you know what, Ashley, Representative Lee, it has not jumped on yet, but we do expect her hopefully shortly. But as we do that, I'm going to turn it over to Erin Heaney, who is with SURJ, to talk a little bit to us. Go ahead, Erin.
Hi, y'all. I'm so thrilled to be here tonight alongside so many friends and comrades. I and all of us at SURJ are showing up for racial justice. We love and respect the work of People's Action. Y'all have done historic work, and under Sulma's leadership continue to inspire all of us. Look at SURJ and People's Action. We've been in the trenches together for quite a while, fighting for affordable and safe housing from rural to urban communities, fighting back against the opioid epidemic and for harm reduction that's saving lives, to doing joint deep canvassing experiments, learning alongside each other about how we fight back against misinformation and racism, to doing joint electoral work in Georgia in 2020 and beyond. And the thing I love about People's Action is that y'all are incredibly clear that power comes from organized bases of people, right? And I appreciate and respect the clarity that y'all have, that we do not yet have the power we need to force the big changes that we all dream of from people in power. At SURJ, we understand that one of the primary reasons we don't yet have that power is because of racism and white supremacy. We know that since the foundation of this country, a very small number of people have used racism to break our natural tendency to unite. We understand that the very concept of race was created in this country and codified and turned into law when a multiracial group of people came together to challenge people who are in power, right? And so all of us need to understand that racism is something that impacts all of us, white, black, brown. So at SURJ, we work to undermine the power of the right, and we're focused on bringing more white people into the multiracial movement we need to win and building the numbers we need so that we can win really big change. Because we understand that when we address race in white communities, when we meet people where they're at and help them understand their stake in fighting racism, people in power lose their most powerful tool. Nothing is inevitable about the world we inherited and the terrain we're fighting on. It was created, which means we can truly build another world. I'm also from Buffalo, and I'm a lifelong Bills fan, which means I deeply believe we can win despite really terrible odds. But in all seriousness, I'm an organizer, and I know that everything is possible when we organize, right? And I know that when I'm at a People's Action event, I know I'm in really good company saying that. So we're thrilled to be part of this coalition, and together I know we can win, that our people and our organizing can defeat their money and their racism. So we're thrilled to be collaborating on one of the country's strongest and biggest text bank programs, talking to folks, having relational conversations, not only getting people out to the polls, but inviting them into our movement for the long haul. So we're very thrilled to be doing this work alongside y'all. And I think with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Juanita.
Thanks, Erin. And now I'm super excited that we are now able to welcome Congressman Lee. Thanks so much, Congressman Lee. You there?
Wait, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want everybody to ignore where I am, but thank you so much, Juanita. Thank you so much to People's Action. I just want to first say I'm always excited to be with you and to be with you all, whether we're obviously on just a Zoom or even if we're just on in the streets doing this work together. So I want to first thank you all so much for the work that you have done. Thank you so much for your support for me, not just in this election, but beforehand. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Summer Lee. I'm a first-term Congresswoman from Pennsylvania. And we have in Western Pennsylvania been able to build a grassroots political electoral movement that I think is such a blueprint for the rest of this country. And we have absolutely been able to do that because of our coalition building, because of our partners who have been in this movement with us, and because of the ways that we have been able to organize around so many of the issues that aren't just important to us, but that what we've learned over the last 6 years are important to everybody across our district, our Commonwealth, and our country. When I first ran for State House and for Congress, I ran on the same things, right? That we had the ability to build a country, a government that is reflective of the people who are in it, that we can have people who are responsive to the things that we care most about, everything from climate justice, environmental racism, and addressing that, to education equity, to healthcare for all, and to economic justice and union rights. That's what we ran on, and that's what we were able to build slates of people who ran on that, from me to now our county executive, Sarah Amarato, and to people all across our Commonwealth who have joined us in this slate. And now that we are in these positions in Congress, in the county executive seats, we have so much more opportunity to build on this. So I want to just say that for a second, right? I think that even as we think about how much we still have to fight for, we think about what we're doing together and collectively, we know that climate is still an existential crisis, right? We recognize that the threats and the attacks on our unions, on our workers, are still as bad as they've ever been, but we also have new opportunities that we've never had. When we send progressive champions to Congress, we are creating new opportunities to push the needle and to expand the realm of what's possible. And that's what we've been able to do. Even when we're in a Republican majority or minority, we are expanding the realm of what's possible so that when we get up to our majority, we are not only taking gavels, but we're also going to populate our Congress with people who believe in climate justice, who believe in racial justice, who believe in economic justice. And we've seen what we can do with just a small group of people who are fired up, who are progressive, who are champions, and who are building in movements with us and with our people. We were able to get historic investments in climate justice in the IRA 2 years ago. And we know that that's just the beginning. We have to finish the job. We have more to do, and we have more intentional investments that we need to make sure that we are protecting our most marginalized communities, our most vulnerable communities. And we are going to be able to do that because of the work that we are collectively doing. So I just wanted to come on here and say thank you all for the support. Thank you all for your work. And I'm excited to continue doing this. We have a big race coming up on April 23rd, obviously. You know, it's gonna be a big test of our people who don't want to see the progress that we're making. They don't want to see a reflective democracy that we've been building. They don't believe in that better world that we have been fighting for, but we do. And we know that we have blueprints and we have tools and we have the people. So I always say that the power of the people is greater than the people of power, but also just so that we know who we're fighting for. We're fighting for the many and not the money. So thank you. And I'm happy to hand it back over.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Lee. I was taking notes on some of the things that she was saying about, you know, we've got the blueprints, we've got the tools, we know how to win. And so I'm actually going to turn it over to Susmik, right? She's going to tell us what we need to do in order to get our progressive champions elected. Susmik, next to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Susmik. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a movement politics field manager at People's Action. I joined People's Action as a part of the team that led the biggest deep canvas mobilization to defeat Trump and defeat fascism in 2020. And today I stand alongside all of you because our fight continues. The stakes were high in 2020. I come from a Nepali immigrant working class household. I have seen firsthand the devastating impact of oppressive regimes. I've witnessed the impact of climate change here at home in New Hampshire on Dakina land. And I've experienced loss because calling an ambulance is a luxury in the United States. Our struggle is real and our need for change urgent. Yet I feel so grounded and hopeful from all the voices we've heard today. We know we are resilient. We know our movement is growing. We defeated Trump before, and we can do it again. We have fought against corporate greed to elect our movement champions like Representative Summer Lee and Representative Jamaal Bowman before, and we've won. So let's do it again. And all of that was possible because we all took action together to create change. You heard it from Juanita and Sulma. When we fight, we win. And how do we fight? We vote and we step up to support our movement champions so they can represent us. In 2020 and 2022, we made millions of door knocks, phone calls, and texts. And tens and thousands of volunteers like you held hundreds of thousands of deep canvas conversations. Why do we win? Because we connect with strangers who do not share our political views, but share our values of humanity and justice. We show up for one another, especially when the times are tough. And now we must rally once more. So I am so proud of our partnership with Seed the Vote and Showing Up for Racial Justice to launch our electoral program. Together, we will protect our movement champions in Pennsylvania, New York, Michigan, and Minnesota, and elect our members and movement champions up and down the ballot. So let's send a resounding message to IPAC and greedy corporations that the people-powered movement and our democracy will prevail. Now, here's what you can do. Visit the link ppls.ac.be-the-change. Again, it's ppls.ac.be-the-change. We will drop it in the chat right now, and you can click on it. You can also see it on the bottom of your screen. And once you are there, fill out our volunteer interest form with the ways you want to step up, and we'll connect you with the right opportunity. Our collective action has the power to defeat fascism, dismantle oppressive regimes, and build a better world for all of us. And now, more than ever, we need to unite. Let's stand together, organize ruthlessly with purpose, and transform our shared vision into reality. Do it now. Fill out the form. Thank you so much. And back to you, Hunita.
Thanks, Susmik. And thank you everyone for coming. I mean, Susmik already told us what to do. And as an organizer, everything has a call to action. So all of you have the link. It's being dropped in the chat. You're going to see it. So make sure you sign up to get more information, to be able to be connected to the right opportunities. So, we're in this together. We definitely got to make sure that we protect our champions in order to fight for the things that we want to see in our states and in our country. So again, thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you for taking that step to real change. And I am sure we are going to see each other knocking on doors and making phone calls. Have a good night, everyone.